Pamela Stone, a 19-year-old woman, was found dead. Her corpse was found floating in the river early in the morning. The case was taken on by the inspector Eleanor Dawson, who quickly knew it was a clear case of murder, even before the results of the autopsy arrived. She started the investigation as soon as it was possible with the support of her colleague, the inspector Rosa Carrillo. The first step was asking around the neighborhood in order to get clues and finding out the murderer's identity, starting with the victim's next-door neighbor, Mrs. Travelo, a lovely and charming old lady from England who had been living in the country for the last 20 years. Eleanor could hear calm steps getting near the door.
Good afternoon. Is this Mrs. Travelo?
Yes, that's my name. May I know who I'm speaking to?
I'm Eleanor Dawson, a police inspector, and this is my colleague, the Inspector Rosa Carrillo. Nice to meet you, madame.
Both of them showed their police badge in order to identify themselves.
Oh, nice to meet you too, dears. What is the purpose of your visit?
Have you heard about your next-door neighbor, Pamela Stone? Her body was found yesterday morning.
Oh, yes, I did. I listened to the radio. I am still in shock. What a pity. She was a lovely and kind girl. She was my granddaughter's babysitter.
Could we ask you some questions?
You, dear, please come in.
Mrs. Travelo led them to the living room. Eleanor paid careful attention to the decoration. For instance, there were several pictures of a couple with a baby on the wall, and some others of a beautiful little girl with braids. At the same time, Carrillo was fascinated with the delicious smell of fresh homemade cookies coming from the kitchen.
Please, take a seat on the sofa. What can I do for you?
We would like to know when you last saw Pamela.
Last week, on Wednesday, if my memory is not wrong. I was at the hospital with my granddaughter during these last days.
And where is she now? Your granddaughter, I mean.
She's sleeping in her bedroom upstairs. She has been going through a road treatment recently. You see, my sweetheart has a problem with one of her kidneys.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope she gets better soon.
Thank you, dears.
Mrs. Travelo started to sob, using a handkerchief to dry her incipient tears. She looked really sad.
We were also wondering if you knew anyone who might have had a problem with Pamela.
With Pamela? That's impossible. I mean, everybody loved her because she was a very helpful girl.
What about a resentful boyfriend?
Not really. I heard she was going out with a classmate from her faculty. But they finished their relationship last month.
You know quite a lot about her personal life, don't you?
It is logical if we consider she relied a lot on me. She used to say I was like another grandmother for her.
Excuse me, madam. Could we ask your granddaughter some questions?
I have just said, my little Wendy is asleep. She's really weak because of her illness lately, more than usual, so she's tired. I wish to get a call soon from hospital with hopeful news about a kidney for her.
Mrs. Travelo, did you notice something strange in Pamela the last time you met her?
Let me think.
The inspectors observed how Mrs. Travelo was making a hard effort to remember. She was an old lady, and this was understandable.
Oh, yes! She confessed she was annoyed with the university. She wondered if she had made a wrong decision with her choice. She did not want to be a lawyer, but her father compelled her to start a degree.
Okay, madam. I think we don't have any more questions for you. Thank you for your cooperation. And one more thing. If you remember something relevant about Pamela, don't doubt to contact us, please.
I will, dears. And I do hope you will catch that careless murderer who has stolen our little Pam from us.
The inspectors left Mrs. Traveler's house to get their car. Definitely, they had so much to do if they wanted to solve the case.
She looks like the typical grandmother we would all have wanted to have, doesn't she?
Uh-huh.
Carrillo knew perfectly the meaning of Dawson's look just in that moment. They had worked together for several years, enough years to know. They didn't need many words to understand each other.
Oh, no. Just a second. Are you suspecting of her as the possible murderer?
Bingo!
Rosa Carrillo suddenly hit her forehead with the palm of her hand, incapable of believing what she had just heard. She had verified the skills of her colleague in every single case they shared. In every successful case, Dawson's instinct had never been wrong.
No mama's way. How can an old lady kill a young woman and throw her corpse in the river? And what's more, Mrs. Travelo looks so lovely and kind.
You should know, anyone can be a criminal, even the person you would expect it the least.
Okay, mi amiga, enlighten me with your deduction.
I do hope you will catch that hairless mother who has stolen our little pound from us. That's what she said. But as far as we are concerned, the news didn't reveal anything about Stones being killed. Who could she know it was the mother?
Carrillo's face changed radically. She hadn't realized that during the interview with Mrs. Travelo.
Well, she may suppose it.
It could also have been an accident or a suicide, but our lovely Grammy had no use to say mother.
And just for that you make her our suspicious number one?
There is also a clear motive. Wendy, Mrs. Travelo's granddaughter, needs a kidney.
So...
Don't you remember the victim's file? She was an organ donor. Mrs. Travelo knew that Pamela's every single organ was to help anyone who needed them after her death. A pragmatic death for her next-door neighbor.